Okay, the Next Avengers. This isn't, what was it? Was it A2 or A Next? For a while, Marvel tried to do, I think it was called M2, where they tried to do the universe in the future. That's where you had, like, Juggernaut had a son, who was the guy in Grunt who drank juggy juice to get all of his powers. And, Captain America had a daughter. This isn't like that. Essentially, in the not-too-distant future, after the Avengers lost their fight against Ultron, Ultron began to slowly take over most of the world. A few surviving superheroes, try to form a resistance. They more or less failed. You really don't see any of this. And what happens is, Tony Stark takes some of the kids. So you have Captain America's kid, Thor's daughter, Black Panther's son, and Pym, who would be Janet Hank's kid. And he's trying to kind of train them in kind of like a biodome. So they're entirely away from the prying eyes of Ultron. Ultron doesn't know they exist. One day, Vision shows up. And as the kids are trying to find out, well, where did Iron Man take Vision? Who is Vision? Because they've only heard them referred to as the soldier, the knight, the archer, the spy, the ghost, the giant, and the pixie. Oh, I think they said, was it the god or the warrior? So there's your 8 members of the Avengers. When they follow Tony Stark into an underground bunker, they see the Iron Avengers. Captain America's son, who's never met Captain America, never met his father. It's like, he sees a robot of him. Well, maybe, will he sound like my dad? Will he be like my dad? And he tries to, he actually activates them, which sends Ultron to him. Ultron then fights Iron Man. Soundly defeats Iron Man as Vision tries to hide the kids. That was the plan all along. Hide the kids till they're old enough to actually face Ultron. They don't like that plan and instead decide they're going to attack Ultron in Ultra City, which is like this giant, insanely elaborate, everything moves and shifts, metal monstrosity. Thor's daughter thinks that she has all the powers of her father. She's invulnerable, super strength, whole 9 yards. While attacked by a group of robots, she realizes she doesn't have all of these abilities. She's good, but she's not that good. They run into the only other surviving child, Hawkeye. Hawkeye's kid survived. And he helps save them. Then they come to terms, they're like, well, there's really not much we can do. They save Tony, and it's like, alright. Tony's like, you have to go and hide, there's nothing you can do. There's one other person left. Betty. Hulk's Betty. Who lets them know, no, Bruce is still alive. The Hulk is alive? Yeah, the Hulk's still alive. Or as the kids know him as the monster. They then go find Hulk. And now Banner hasn't been Hulk for ridiculously long time. He's got like Zen gardens. He's cutting bonsai trees. And he's like, no, get out of here. Don't want Hulk to show back up. So they have one thing. If Hulk won't fight Ultron, they'll bring Ultron to Hulk. I should mention, there's got a lot of almost like coming of age to it. You've got Captain America's son trying to come to grips with the legacy of a person he's never met. And let's be honest, if you're Captain America's kid, the legacy you have to, the shoes you have to fill are huge. And all the Avengers are dead, except for Thor. Thor left to go to Asgard. He's never come back. Never seen his daughter. So she's trying to come to grips with a father who's abandoned her. It's fairly heady stuff for an overall a very, very child-friendly movie. And then the Iron Avengers and Ultron take on the combined forces of Hulk, Captain America's kid, the Pym's kid, Black Panther's kid, and Thor's daughter. And they did a pretty unique job. I'll give them that. This is actually, when it comes to the ones that are done more along the lines for children, sometimes they go really bizarre and kind of, it's really ridiculously toned down. This one, it's good enough for kids to watch because it's not really violent. It does have moments of violence, but the person who's getting beaten down the most is Thor's daughter, so she can handle it. And they're fighting Ultron, who's a robot. So the worst you see is robots beating up people. And then, people destroying robots. But it's done in a very clean, crisp way. The style, it's not quite like the Timverse style. You can tell that when you watch something like Wolverine, Hulk, you see that style, or Hulk, Thor, or any of the other Marvel movies. There's a very specific style to them. This one, it's a little bit less than that style, but it works what they're trying to get across. Not saying it's sloppy by any means. If you have a child and you want to get them kind of into superheroes a little bit, but you don't think they're ready for some of the DC movies are a little bit more adult than what this one is. This was designed primarily for children. And as a comic fan, I enjoyed it. Knowing that around this time, probably next year, there should be an Avengers movie coming out. It was really unique to see what the future would look like if the Avengers were to be destroyed by Ultron, and their kids had to fill in the shoes to take on the legacy. And that's the Next Avengers.